Hello everyone, and welcome to week 7 of PUDL, where we take on Zeus and his team, the Fire Gods of Anubis. This is going to be, I think, a slightly difficult week. I think we don't have the greatest matchups, but we're going to try and win it anyway. Let's get into, first of all, what our opponent here has on their team. First of all, they has a Great Tusk, a Kyurem, an Ogerpon Hearthflame, a Hooper Unbound, a Chestnut, which can terastallize into a Grass, Fire, or Poison type, a Diancie, a Slowbro Gallo, which can terastallize into a Psychic, Fighting, or Fairy type, a Monkey Dory, an Ursaring, and finally a Minior. So yeah, let's get into what we are bringing. So big threats on that team. First of all, it only took 7 weeks, but the debut of Tangle the Decidueye. He's been on the bench all this time, and there's finally a good matchup for him. We finally get a chance to use him. We are running a Choice Scarf set with max attack plus attack nature. We're a bit mixed because we do also have Leaf Storm. So I think Spirit Shackle was really, really nice this week. It hits the Monkey Dory and the Slowbro Gallo super effectively, and hits everything other than the String, obviously. For neutral damage, which is really, really nice. And also prevents him swapping out, which allows us to know that our opponent isn't going to make any doubles, and allows us to just always guaranteed swap in and get a favourable matchup using Decidueye. Should be our lead this week. We have Brave Bird, which is really, really nice. Hits things like the Great Tusk, I believe, for a 2 KO. Allows us to do massive damage to the Ogerpon Hearthflame, which I do think is going to be a swapping of choice. Allows us to hit that Chestnut for huge amounts of damage, but pre-Terra, and generally does a lot of damage into his team. Next up, we have the U-Turn, obviously very nice as well. Hits things, everything pretty neutrally, and also does a lot of damage to that Hooper Unbound, being 4 times super effective, if that thing does want to swap in, since obviously it's a Dark type. And yeah, and then finally we have Leaf Storm. We are running Leaf Storm over something like a Leaf Blade or something like that because of the Great Tusk. Great Tusk has a massive physical defense stat, so we wouldn't be able to KO unless we are running Leaf Storm. And that we can basically use our Decidueye normally, just be U-turning around, show him that we like max attack plus attack nature, and lull him into a false sense of belief that he can take a hit with his Great Tusk, and then suddenly, all of a sudden, just catch him with a Leaf Storm 1-hit KO, which could be really, really nice. And yeah, that is the plan for Decidueye. Next up, we have AV Tauros. We are like a nearly max Fizz-Def Tauros set this week with Intimidate. This is our check to things like Great Tusk, Ogerpon Hearthflame, not as much Ogerpon Hearthflame because obviously it's grass type. Things like Terrafire Chestnut, Ursaring is another big one. Potentially Minior as well. Minior could actually be a really, really big problem this week if it's Shell Smash, so that is something I'm kind of hoping he doesn't bring, but if he does, we could hopefully deal with it. We also have the Assault Vest, which allows us to take hits a little bit better from things like Kyurem and Slowbro and Monkey Dory, if we need to. We are running Wave Crash, CC, Earthquake, and Aqua Jet. Wave Crash is just really, really solid to his team. At plus close combat, just does a lot of damage. Hits everything neutrally, I'm pretty sure, on his team. Then we have EQ, which allows us to hit things like Diancie, like Terra Firemons, which obviously we don't really need to, but still. Yeah, gives us the option. Also hits the Monkey Dory and the Slowbro if those two want to swap in. So obviously Poison Psychic is pretty solid to fighting, so those two probably want to swap in, and they take a huge chunk from EQs. And then Aqua Jet just allows us to get some extra chip if necessary, and pick up some KOs if things are low health. Next up, we have what's probably going to be our win con for this week, and that is Battle Bond Greninja. We are Life Orb, and we're a very, very offensive set. This thing does so much damage into his team. Surf, Dark Pulse, Sludge Wave. If we can get a Battle Bond, it just destroys his team. We Surf the Great Tusk. We Sludge Wave the Ogerpon. We can Dark Pulse or Surf the Hooper. We can Sludge Wave the Chestnut, and if it's turned into like fire, we can Surf it. We Surf the Diancie. We Dark Pulse the Slowbro. If it terastallizes, we can Sludge Wave it. Monkey Dory, we hit with Dark Pulse. Ursaring, we hit with low kick, and Minior also gets surfed. So low kick is our little bit of tech. We have a little bit of attack investment, and that's because low kick allows us to surprise KO things like Kyurem and the Ursaring, which are the only two that resist. That's going to be very, very crucial because our game plan is very, very dependent on rocks this week. If this thing takes rocks, then low kick can KO at +1 after rocks, which is really, really big. Next up, we have Citrus Berry Dervish. We are running Iron Head, Rapid Spin, Spike, Stealth. Once again, hazards are so crucial this week. His team does not deal with them. Well, his only removal, I believe, is Great Tusk, which doesn't necessarily want to be a rapid spinner. And things like Kyurem, Ogerpon can't help run boots to Half Flame, and that's going to take 25% guaranteed. Hooper takes neutral. Chestnut, if it's thrusted into fire, takes 25. If not, it will resist. But Diancie takes 12, Slowbro takes 12, Munkidori takes 12, Ursaring takes 12, and Minio takes 25. So yeah, his team really doesn't like Stealth Rocks, and Spike's also really nice for things like the Chestnut. So we kind of just want to lead this and set up our hazards. Really nice. We have the Citrus Berry just to get a bit more health. I believe we're more Spadef. Yeah, we're more Spadef this week because this is probably our best Kyurem check. Luckily that thing does not get a fire move, which is nice. We have Iron Head for that, and we also have Rapid Sprint just to clear hazards if we need. Next up, we have Throat Spray Meloetta. Meloetta is going to be the Terra Cap for this week, and we are Terra Normal with Hyper Voice, Energy Ball, Thunderbolt, U-Turn. This set, once again, also does really well. Terra Normal Hyper Voices do a lot of damage, and once we get that Throat Spray, we're hitting really hard. The only thing that really handles this well is the Diancie, which obviously we then have the Energy Ball for after we Hyper Voice once. Then Thunderbolt is for things like the Minior, which obviously we established is a huge threat to us. Yeah, and then we have U-Turn just so that we don't necessarily have to commit to our set if we don't want to immediately. Next up we have defensive Arcanine with Iron Head, Head Smash. Iron Head obviously is for that Diancie, which I do think is going to be the swap in. It also does decent well. Our plan with this is to try and swap into this and bait in the Great Tusk and then get a Will-O-Wisp on it. We are Morning Sun for a bit of recovery as well. We have Head Smash, Iron Head. So once we burn the Great Tusk, I think we're in a great position. It allows us to just pivot around with our Tauros. And those two form a very solid physically defensive core. And then, yeah, that is the team for week 7, and I will see you lot all in the battle. Hello everyone, and welcome back to week 7 of PUDL, where we take on Zeus and his team, the Fire Gods of Anubis. I'm very intrigued to see what he brings this week. There's a few things that I'm hoping that we don't see, but let's see. We have the Chestnut, the famous Chestnut. Is a Terra Cap. We see the Ogerpon, Half Flame. Nice. We see the Diancie. I was hoping not for Diancie because it's kind of good into my team. We see Hooper, Unbound. We see the Kyurem. And finally, we do see the Great Tusk. So a lot of the top tiers and Kyurem. On paper, things do look really nice for Greninja in the late game if we can get the Battle Bond working. What does he have for Fortress lead? Obviously, Ogerpon lead would be pretty annoying. Diancie lead would also be pretty bad. Kyurem's fine. Fire Punch on Hooper could be annoying. He could be Terrifier on Chestnut. I kind of do like just leading the Decidueye. I think we are going to lead the Decidueye, just because Fortress is such a obvious lead on paper. What does he lead into Fortress? Like Ogerpon? Maybe we lead the Tauros. Tauros is getting into a lot of things on his team. Can we take a Diancie hit? We can. I'm going to lead Tauros here. Deviating a bit from the plan, because the original plan was to lead Decidueye or Fortress, but I do think with what he's brought, like no Glow Bro is nice. No Munkidori, no Ursaring, and Minio were kind of like low-key kind of really bad for me, so I'm kind of happy with that. I really wish I led the Decidueye. We are going to intimidate this though, which is nice. Obviously Psychic moves hurt from this still. And I don't think we do much back. If he's AV, Psychic Noise is doing a lot. We do a decent chunk, like 50% if he's defensive. Part of me wants to just CC turn 1. We're probably faster because he's 80 base speed, and we do have some speed investment, although he's defensive. This thing is a bit tough for us to swap into. We could go Hunter here. Or just straight up Dervish. I do think this thing is physical because it needs Fire Punch for Fortress. It doesn't do much with like knockoff. Thunderbolt does a lot. I think I'm just going to turn 1 Wave Crash, do a good chunk to it, and kind of see what he wants to do. If he's special, good bring. He does look defensive, physically defensive, based on that damage. And he's physical, okay. Gunk Shot, huge crit. Humongous crit turn 1. Because we're like max Fizz Def, and we have the Intimidate. Down to 12. Down to 12 on a Gunk Shot. Crit. Is he like banded? I can't tell. Gunk Shot. This thing is like max attack. Like max attack adamant. Does look like he's definitely like adamant banded based on that damage. Choice band. Gunk Shot to 77. He did about like 77%. So I do think he's banded this game. We could just go Fortress then. If that's not banded damage, I will be shocked. Because our recoil was only like 15% on Wave Crash. So yeah, he did like about 70 there. He is just going to Gunk Shot again. That's fine. I do definitely think he's banded, and if he's not, then that's crazy. Rocks are so important for me this game, so we're going to get Rocks up. So good for Kyurem and so good for the Ogerpon, which obviously can't be boots. He does withdraw. So I do definitely think that is banded Hooper with a lot of Fizz Def. It's Rampage, which I'm assuming is Tusk. No, it's the Chestnut. Okay. We're going to get our Rocks up here. Defensive into my Fortress obviously takes nothing. We could Spike here. Body Press, if he's max Fizz Def, does 30%. He could be Terra Fire, obviously, which is a big thing. I kind of like... This does scream Terra Fire to me, so part of me really wants to go into the Arcanine on this. If he is the Terra Fire, we will do a lot with Head Smashes. Otherwise, we can Willow. The other option is to just sack off the Tauros head to get the Intimidate. I do think learning a bit about this. I don't want to not let him set up, though. I'm going to go Tauros here. Get an Intimidate off on this in case it's like Belly Drum or something. Although Belly Drum will just put him back to +6, but we'll see. That crit is so annoying early game on Hooper because he would not be doing nearly as much. And he is Belly Drum. Okay, good to know. Now, what priority does this get? I think it's just Trailblaze. My Tauros should do a lot to this. See if he's not Terra Fire, we're not doing much to him. If he's max Fizz Def, he might have EV'd wrong as well. That's another thing. How much are we doing with Gren? Sludge Wave, huge amount. Meloetta with a Hyper Voice is doing more. We're going to CC here. And we're going to see how defensive he is. So not very defensive. Okay, good to know. We nearly picked up the KO. Is he Citrus? Isn't Citrus, just Trailblazers. Okay, that's fine. We have Scarf Decidueye, we should outspeed this, right? +1. If he's the max speed. Would outspeed our Decidueye, would he outspeed our Gren? He should never outspeed our Gren, we are creeping. The max speed Timid. He hits 373 if he's max speed Timid on Chestnut, so let's just go Gren. And this is a tough call for him now because does he let us Battle Bond? What's the best play here? Surf is pretty free. How free is Dark Pulse? Dark Pulse a little less free. How good is Sludge Wave? Hits a potential swap in. What is the swap in here? Kyurem, I guess. I'm gonna Dark Pulse. Should always be faster. If he lets us have this, we get a Battle Bond. He's gonna Terastallize. I'm confused by the Terror. It's fire or poison. Or grass, I guess. He's fire, which I kind of expected when he swapped into Fortress. Could have surfed. Didn't really need to though, because we're Dark Pulsing. Yep, we're faster, and we KO and we get a Battle Bond boost, which is huge in this mid game because we're +1 and we have rocks. Chestnut's dead. We did lose Tauros because of that crit, but we're in a really good spot otherwise. He doesn't know we're Battle Bond now. So we're just going to try break as much as we can with Gren here. We do have rocks up, so Ogerpon can't do much because that's chipped. Well, let's see, Gren, +1 attack, +1 special attack, +1 speed. We are outspeeding everything on his team right now. Hooper's chipped. A lot of things are chipped. Hooper's actually going to be very low because of rocks. It is Kyurem, which does take rocks. He is... If this is offensive, we kill. If it's max HP, we still kill. We're going to low kick. And we are going to pick up that KO. Huge. Kyurem's dead. Big KO. Kyurem's gone. Huge. Huge for our team. That really helps out with a lot of things like Decidueye, our Mellow, this Greninja as well. That was one of the main checks to Gran. With our moveset, we're in a really, really good spot. Nothing can Terra. And I assume things are taking rocks. The Kyurem taking rocks was huge because that was actually a roll. It was actually not a roll if he was max HP. If he was no investment, like a Scarfer set, it was a 50% roll. It is Diancie that comes out. Is Diancie taking a +1 surf? Does take rocks. He's max HP, max Spadef. He's taking 87.1 to 102.6. Which is a very close roll, and it's going to be a kill. Diancie's down. Huge. This might be game. Greninja's a monster. At the very least, Diancie was a huge threat to our team. So that being gone is huge. We surf the Great Tusk. We Sludge Wave the Ogerpon. Obviously cannot on Hearth. Flame if he's like a... If he's max HP, let's put it in. Just in case. Should still die to a Sludge Wave. And he's not max HP or anything that can get him to live. So down that goes. And I'm assuming Tusk obviously dies to... Well, I mean, not obviously, but dies to a thing. And Hooper's chipped. So it should die. Hooper's Spadef is very, very good. But rocks plus the damage it's already taken should put it low enough to be... And we saw it was Fizz Death, I'm pretty sure. But we will still calc into it. Unbound, we'll calc into like an AV set. We know he's banded. He's not Assault Vest, so we just surf. Yeah, it looks like that's game. That's a Greninja 6-0, my friends. Huge. Please tell me I'm recording this. I am. Let's go. Tusk should die, and even if he's Sash. Dolomite. If he's like anything that lives this, he should have gone to this about 4 hours ago. He is booster energy, so we know he's not anything to live it. Attack, so he's very offensive. Offensive utility, yeah, he has to be a lot of attack to do this, so we're just going to surf here. And this could be game, let's see. It is! Gran picks up the win! Huge! Low kick was such a good tech on the Greninja to be able to KO Kyurem, and after that it was a wrap. GG's to Zeus. He played very, very well. That early crit
from Hooper put us in a really, really bad spot. But we managed to fight our way out of that situation, and Gren managed to, like, Belladrum Chestnut was also scary, but Gren, we were creeping, always outspeed that +1 Chestnut after a Trailblaze, 374 versus 373. Big GG's to Zeus, and a great game. We are 5-2 now in PUDL. I think that secures us playoffs since there's only 1 week left, but we'll have to see. Nonetheless, if we can try and find ourselves in a better finishing spot, we'll try and still pick up a win last week, obviously. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next week for week 8. Bye-bye.